So today you're gonna watch a film from the son of Jafar Panahi. Jafar Panahi was the last film we watched. It was No Bears. Jafar Panahi, you know, is this great, I mean, certainly the most famous Iranian director who won the Grand Prix film, Palme d'Or of the Cannes Film Festival. And this is his son, and the film is called Hit the Road. It was made in 2021. And it's a very different kind of language, but it's still an Iranian film. I found that Iranian language, well, cinephile language, has a lot to do with European language. It's not really a lot of common always like what Hollywood and American movies has to propose. So all of these movies are content-based most of the time and very simple for different reasons. Impossible to make a certain film with a certain aspect, sometimes rejected, but they come true all the time. This film is different because it's different because of the reason that it's another generation, but they still use the same language. You're gonna see on this film a lot of influence from Kiarostami, who is like the great poetic director of Iran, and with a different way of approaching what he has been going in Iran, the political aspect, but strongly what I think this film has really the most important strengths, it's the idea of like the mood and the emotion. And when we talk, the few interviews I saw, I listened what he has been saying, mood and emotion are very important. Of course, there is all the other aspects, the political aspect, the social aspect. It's a film we shot most of the time in a car, so very basic, but a lot about communication, a lot about development of character. What I found really sad today in cinema in general, that the development of character is so low. You don't see, you see just a long length of action when we are talking. Really this idea of having characters who are developed, who are going to a human level and who are really making a statement about society are very rare today. Or they're not surviving, commercially. This is like here you can see, obviously you can see about the great one. You can see about, Bergman or Antonioni. This will give you an idea of what the great classic film is. And even if he's a young man, I think he must be in his 40s, right? Something like this, I suppose. He has this sense of his father, so you're gonna see, plus something else. So there is plus an idea of like how we look at the society, how we look at the combination of connection between these people. And it's too very entertaining, because what the problem with all these very intellectual films, sometimes it can be really difficult to carry because it's heavy, it's slow, this is kind of my forte because I love this kind of film. But for like most of the people, when it comes to this, people want to have like an entertainment factors, and this is entertaining. I watch it about 3 times, as I usually, before I come here, I watch a film 3 times. And every time I watch, I get something else about it. It's a beautiful film, poetic, strong on humanity, strong in political factor too, but in a different way. But for that, I'm gonna introduce you, and I'm sure if you were there before, you know Goldberg, and she's gonna tell you a little bit about the film. After the film, we'll talk about every aspect of the film. I mean, it's like he's so much in details. The music is absolutely extraordinary in a different way, and it talks. And you can talk about the singer that I don't know were important singer, the way that he puts the landscape. Like if you have been seeing the Kiarostami, you're gonna really look at this and you're gonna say, oh well, that there is some Kiarostami. But everybody has influence, but still, the punch of the film is really strong because there is a little boy inside, and he is absolutely extraordinary. So he reminds me, when we see film with a little kid, 400 Blows is a very good example, or The Bicycle Thief is a good example. Many of these films are like sometimes having a young actor who is so talented, brings the film to a level of humanity and a level of life. And this film is life, So just look at it in a different way maybe than the other, but still remember that it carries you, and I hope it will be an impact on how you see it. And after we'll do everything as usual. We'll talk about the script and we'll talk about the music and how the film was made. how the cinephile language, how the camera is moving, and why is this giving this aspect of great creation. So thank you for coming again, and I'm going to let you have Goldbach coming in, who has been so great for all this film. Without her, I don't know if I will be able to answer some question, for sure not. So she's there and she has been great, and she has been really helping for you to have really a vision of what Iran is. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being so kind, Gerard. Hi friends, how are you? I hope everyone's doing well today. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this last installment of our film series, Journeys in Iranian Cinema. And today's film is the ultimate journey film, or road film, in fact. Before I start, I just wanted to mention that it's kind of interesting that we're watching this film today. For those of you who have been following the news, you probably have heard that there are many protests going on in Iran. We're, I think, in the 13th or 14th day of protests in Iran. But there has been a total internet shutdown and phone shutdown for 4 days now, so we don't necessarily know exactly what's happening in the streets, and we have no way of actually contacting our families back home. But we know that a lot of people have come out demanding their rights, freedom, and dignity. And you'll see that that's not very much, unrelated to the topic of the film today. So Hit the Road, as Gerard mentioned, is the debut feature film of Panah Panahi, the son of Jafar Panahi, whose film we watched last month. No Bears was the name of the film. He's a 41-year-old filmmaker. He actually has worked with his father on some of his films. He edited, for example, Three Faces. He also actually worked as an assistant to both his father and Kiarostami, which is why you see a little bit of this. Again, like a road movie is, the kind of signature of Kiarostami as well. So Hit the Road tells the story of a family of four on a road trip in northwestern parts of Iran. Northwestern parts of Iran kind of borders northern parts of Iraq, southern parts of Turkey. And this is a place that's inhabited by people of Kurdish descent who speak Kurdish. So in the movie, you're going to see people who speak Kurdish. If I'm not mistaken, from what I remember, I've seen the film twice, but I think it was Kurdish. That's different from the language that the main characters speak, which is Persian. So you're going to see that they don't necessarily understand each other all the time in local regions, in northwestern parts of Iran. This is a trip that's going to change the lives of some of the characters of the film forever. The reasons for the road trip, however, remain a mystery until the very end, and it will remain a mystery, actually, to the youngest child of the family, as you will see. The film was made in the year 2019, in the aftermath of a protest movement in the same year, 2019, that came to be known as the Bloody November. It was November 2019. And this was one of the bloodiest uprisings in the history of post-revolutionary Iran. The protests were actually sparked by a sudden government announcement that fuel prices in Iran would rise up by 200%. So you know that Iran is an oil-rich country, so people had never, had to pay a lot for fuel or gas. So this was a surprise to many people and really made them unhappy. And the decision was actually made during a time of severe economic hardship caused by extreme U.S. sanctions after the U.S. during the first Trump administration unilaterally withdrew from the nuclear deal known as the JCPOA. So once the U.S. withdrew, severe economic sanctions was placed on Iran, which led to this economic hardship. So the protests began as peaceful demonstrations first, but then once the government actually used force against the protesters, it turned into a violent confrontation. There have been many protest movements in Iran since 1979, but this one was the first one that led to a brutal government crackdown, mass arrests, but especially arrests of younger people who took to the streets because they really saw no future for themselves, and also a lot of deaths in just 1 month, less than a month in fact. And as a result of the horrendous economic conditions due to sanctions and also arrests of younger people, especially university students, Iran began to see a wave of young people fleeing the country under very unsafe conditions, as part and parcel of what we call a refugee crisis, in fact. This film is not explicitly political. You're not going to see any protest movements, nothing like that. And please keep in mind that due to really strict rules and censorship laws, filmmakers actually cannot necessarily make political films if they want their films to be shown in Iran. So that's why a lot of filmmakers actually develop an allegorical language to deal with political topics. And a lot of times they talk about social topics in order to kind of tap into the more, to the larger political issues in Iran. And Hit the Road is one of those films. While not explicitly political, it captures the emotional weight of this period, the fear, as well as the resistance of people in Iran. Panah Panahi, the filmmaker, he said that this is a very personal film for him, and we can talk about that after the film. One other thing I actually wanted to mention, and Gerard actually kind of touched on it, is one aspect of it. I really like the film, and I do think it's very entertaining, in fact, and sad at the same time, which I think are the hallmarks of a good film. But the songs that are used in the film, I just wanted to mention something about them. They are all by Iranian singers who left Iran in 1979. So they either live in exile still to this day, or they died in exile. But these are older singers, and their songs are known by all Iranians. And actually the songs and the singers themselves are banned in Iran. So just kind of featuring these songs in the film itself is a political act in a way. Well, by kind of by using these films, what Panah Panahi tries to do is to draw on a shared culture in a way, and shared memories, in fact, to create a sense of kind of intimacy, as well as a sense of unity, I think. And if you watch this film with an Iranian, they'll sing along with all of those songs. That's all I wanted to say. I hope you really enjoy the film. Once again, thank you so much for coming to our films. It's been a pleasure being with you in the theater for all of these films. Most of them, at least. Thank you.
And this is, like what he said something very great, about what film was, about the mood, emotion, feeling, connection. This is a movie about that. Of course, we have the political aspect. Of course, we have the external aspect, but it's not about that. It's about how this connection of these people, of this family, on the writing, when they write the script, and this is a very well-written script. It's not something with improvised. Everything is written line by line. When somebody writes a script, he asks himself, what is the end of the film? What do you want people to feel about it? And this film is about how he's going to explore emotion through the characteristic of this family, through their relationship, and now he's going to bring all this kind of mood and emotion to make us feel human. And that I really want to think that, for me, anyway, this is my vision of cinema. Cinema is always, for me, an emotion. It's an emotion. It carries me into a place where I'm going to question, I'm going to look at everything else. So, of course, it's a film about connection, but it's a film about loss, about separation. It's a film about all these human things, and not just human. I mean, I just want to share with you, I lost my dog last month, you know. And, you know, this is really, animals too are such a part, important of the life of people. So it's all their connection, it's all their relationship, and look at developed is the relationship. We can talk about each person, one to the other, and what kind of relationship they have. This is to come back to what cinema is. Cinema is a development of ideas, of a development of character. It's not something superficial. You could really look at the relationship of the mother or the father, of the older brother with his father. All these scenes are based on dialogue, a lot of dialogue, but not just heavy dialogue. Light dialogue and connection with people and humanity. And I find this absolutely extraordinary, because when you watch this a couple of times, and what happened to me, I realized how powerful is the connection between all these characters. And of course, the core of this, these little kids, with life by itself, is life. And life is protected, because he will never know. His parents, by doing everything for him, and just try to go around really what the reality is, they protect him. And they really making finishing the film by this really spur of life. So we have like a really very strong ending. Even with death and separation, we have this strong aspect of like the message of this. The characters who are connected with each other, all the relations are beautiful, all the relationship, you know, between the father and the mother, have this tenderness and this love. So a lot of love, a lot of caring, a lot of connection. In a car, there is nothing. We're not talking cinema of today. We never accept something like this because it's limited. But why it's limited for the other people? For me, it's absolutely wonderful, because you have to have a quality connection between people if you want to film like this. If you want to film with a lot of things going on, as action, as visual, you will not have to do this. You are really pushed to be able to do what happened in a car between 4 people, and I tell you, it's difficult. It's not easy, even for the shooting aspect of it, and for the relationship, and how it is going to be holding you up for that 90 minutes. And of course, what I find, and why I was talking a little bit about Kiarostami at the beginning, the contrast of the car with this wide open, landscape. That is the power of the camera. And I don't have hours to talk about it, but a filmmaker does 2 things. He just develops an idea or a vision, and after he says, what am I going to do with my camera? He's going to just make it. And this is absolutely the beauty of it. Kiarostami too was like this, and even his father, Jafar Panahi. But I find this very extraordinary, that you are in a car, completely locked in, and suddenly we have this opening onto the land. But not just that, we see the people very small. There is nobody in the car. They take the whole part of the car. Soon that they get out, they're very small. So you will say, why is this important? It is important. You re-put people into the side of the world. I mean, we know that there have been story or like film, like The Grand Illusion of 1936, when at the end they walk into a mountain and they're very little. It's not for nothing. All the size, all the framing means something. So cinephile or cinematic language, it's a language to tell you something by every little details. And I think that you learn as you watch it. If there was not this big landscape, you will lose all the touch. You will lose all the power of the messages. And of course, if you have all the contrast with this small car where everybody is on the top of each other and connected with each other, you re-put and reset everything in the world. Political things, of course, they are on the back of it. Reality is on the back of everything. But humanity is about, this film is about really humanity. And this is really what I think is really touching me. And two, you know, really the strength of this music. You know, I was really curious when I watched it the first time. I said, how is this classical music? This classical music is Franz Schubert. Franz Schubert is coming all the time. I don't know if you remember at the beginning, on the father, on the mother at a certain point, and it's very, very strong. So these two has a language. So you have the music with the camera and with the center, with like the message of the film, who makes this impact on us in a way that we are coming back into us saying, what is this? Where am I? And what am I making with this film? But again, films who have power, the power of film is always, always on our human existence more than anything else, because it's what touches us. Editing-wise, it's not a very complex editing. It's not Jean-Luc Godard. You know, I mean, you know, Godard is really one of my best, you know, filmmaker. It is a very simple editing, but all bringing us back to the relationship of the family and to the chemistry of the family and how they protect the life of this kid. Of course, you know, I mean, it's really maybe extended a little bit, but I remember one of the film was really very questioned at one time. Life is Beautiful. I don't know if you remember this film, you know, where the father protects his child by making believe that even if he's in a concentration camp, it's a game. So this make me feel the same way, that for the love of their child, they're gonna go around, they're gonna protect him, and it's gonna make him like coming out okay out of this really very strong drama. Besides these extremely talented actors, this Jafar Panahi take a lot of non-professional actors. These are professional actors. Both of them are really very well known. You know, they've been doing things, and you can see the strengths. And these little kids, I don't know how a little kid can be so powerful. It changed the whole structure of the film. If I had to take this child and take him out, it would not be the same film. You could not have the same film. If he was not this kind of like, really full of like trying to go everywhere, or even with his temper, it will be completely different. It will be not the same power. And this is the power of life. For me, he represents really what life is and how it comes out at the end as a strong message. So that's it. All this aspect makes what an art form is. An art form is always extremely original too. I mean, there is, you talk about 2000, Odyssey 2001 of Stanley Kubrick, and you can see why. You know, like there's a scene when they are like lying down on the floor, and he's flying with his son on his stomach, and he goes up to the sky. It's so great and so beautiful and so tender, and again, so extremely poetic. I mean, when I started, because I didn't know this film, you know, Goldberg introduced me to this film. I didn't know it. I was kind of a little, what is this, you know? It's like and soon that I watched it a couple of times, I realized how strong is the message, and the message is not just a flat message of an action movie or even like kind of a political statement. It's much more than that. And that's its talent. And I hope it makes the other film, you know, this talent of putting this poetic, this relationship, this connection, this vision, and in the same time, of course, the political, you know, loss, the loss, losing your son, you know what I mean? And you see how she expressed this, and it's so beautiful. But do not touch, protect. I will protect my son at any cost. And I think that this was really beautiful, and he finishes on this great film. So that's what I wanted to say. And after we'll do a Q&A, because he just told me, well, I just tried to make you talk not too long, blah, 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 so I'll try.
Thank you, Gerard. I just wanted maybe to say a couple of points. Similar to Gerard, what I like is the juxtaposition of loss or death and life in a way in the film. Because I think the message it's trying to also send is that despite, you know, the son leaving in really difficult circumstances, of course, to very uncertain conditions, who knows what's going to happen to him. The dog dying, having, you know, they put their house on bail, to bail basically their son out because he was probably in the protests. They are driving actually in Lake Urmia, which is a salt lake, a very important salt lake to Iran, which kind of has become a symbol of Iran because it's been drying. Majority of it has dried up actually. So it's also a dying lake. Despite all of that, there is force of life, there is beauty in the film. There's a lot of beauty in the film. And I think nature, the landscape, the little boy, life in general still kind of makes you want to go on with life. I really like that juxtaposition. Anything else I wanted to add? I mean, I think it will come up in questions and answers, so we can take up questions if there are any.
Question, guys? Anything about all the filmmaking aspect of it, or the idea of it, of whatever, you know, would be more happy than to share what we know about it. Or any comments too. Comments are good too. You can say, you know, I don't think you're right on that, or whatever. Comments are good. We're not here like just going step by step. If you want to say something you think, or you can say that's great, or whatever it is, you know. We want people to express it, what this exists.
There is a question there, yeah.
Yes, from the political point of view, since it's a film about someone leaving Iran, how is it seen? Is this movie seen in Iran?
Yeah.
The film was seen in Iran, screened and seen in Iran, which also tells you about, I mean, this is a known topic in Iran because there is a brain drain, they call it, especially a lot of university professors, university students who do have an opportunity leave, and those who can't, a lot of times, you know, leave this way. I don't know if you understood, so do you know why they bought the sheepskin? Okay, they buy it because they are leaving on land, obviously, crossing a border, and they actually wear the sheepskin at night and pretend to be sheep and cross the border. So yeah, that's why they bought it. It's a known topic, but conditions of showing films in Iran has gotten better just because so many directors have pushed the boundaries. So they no longer can, you know, stop films like this from being screened. If it had a very overtly political message or a political statement, then it would have been censored or banned. One thing I should mention, I gave you wrong information. I said they were speaking Kurdish. They were actually speaking Turkish, Azeri Turkish. My apologies for that. Last time I saw it was a year ago, so I forgot what language they were speaking. But they are still in northwestern parts of Iran.
I can add something because you know, during my research before I present the film, he said himself that he was very surprised of the success of the film in Iran. So the film had a success, you know, and I understand because it's not like just a pure political. It's such a beautiful film about like reinforcing, you know, life. And he said that he was very successful. And after this, we didn't hear anything about him. You know, after this, he was like gone. And he had like, well, he had the prize of the Kazan des réalisateurs in Cannes. It's like for the new filmmaker. It's a very, very important stamp. It's a part of the festival for the younger filmmaker or the first filmmaker. And when you get this, you should be able to get to some other point or to some other film, but I don't know anything about it. After that, I don't know. After this, there was a pandemic and everything else. But his father, you know, the film No Bears was interesting because No Bears was done after, in 2023. So when we put this chronologically, it was supposed to do, and I think what happened, and I think that it was great to finish with this. Finish the series with something new, something young, something full of life. I thought that it was really a great feeling, but to say that it was successful as a screening.
What do you make of the father with the broken leg? What is broken leg?
Yeah, well, there is a different thing. Do you see what he has in the broken leg? Do you see what he put in the broken leg? His phone.
What do you think? It is because he wants to use the cell phone only?
Well, it's his phone. He's not supposed to have a phone, and he hides the phone in it.
I think it goes beyond that. It's a little bit more symbolic, I think. I mean, obviously, this is a man who cannot express his feelings very well. We see it throughout the film. I mean, he's a very emotional man, obviously, but not very good at expressing. And I kind of feel like the cast kind of represents this stiffness or this emotional weight that's not allowing him to to breathe, or we constantly feel that he is in pain, or he's too sad. I kind of, because I mean the mother, I think everyone in the family kind of knows it, because the mother even says the cat has been there for 4 months.
4 months.
That's impossible. Like it's as if this is his way of hiding his emotions, or his comfort cast.
And remember, first frame of the film is a child making the keyboard on the cast of his father and playing on it. So you will say, well, no, this is made by the director, who has really a deep meaning, like how is a child is going to take a suffering or a cast or his father and he's going to play music, and it's how life is going to come out of this. So these are all full of interpretation. For this film like this, where you can interpret the image, you can make something out of it, are so powerful because they give you another layer of thinking. It's not something simple, it's something complex, but it's something with really full of symbols. I love the symbols in this film. There is so many of them, but the nature is so beautiful too. I would like to go to Iran now. I say, let me go there, how beautiful is that? Northern Iran there was absolutely gorgeous. It could be, I say it could be any beautiful place in the world, but it could, So it developed too. Again, this, when I created the Cinematheque, we talk about it. This is what makes the film so powerful, that people who have no idea where Iran is, who are people from Iran, what is the country look like, by watching a film just being a home, they can discover a completely different world. Of course, all of us maybe know that, but let's suppose somebody who never traveled anywhere. Watching this can open their eyes and really make them so educated, or much more educated about where we are in the world. So it's very powerful.
There was a question.
I didn't understand the people at the end who take the son, the driving son. They're all masked up. Were they government people? Were they paramilitary? What were they?
They're human traffickers.
Yeah.
Yes. They're the ones who actually get a lot of money, take a lot of money, and they take people across the border. They live there, they're locals, so they know the land very well. A lot of times they know people on the other side. They sometimes know officials who have been bribed and helped them in smuggling people or things. So no, they're independent human traffickers who may be connected to officials, but we don't know. This film doesn't necessarily show that.
And I think too the statement about this is what he said too. It's what I read, and he said that it's not just for Iran. It's like this idea of coming out and being trying to find a way to get out of the country. It's like for so many other places in the world, as we know, people who are trying to get out to get to a better world. So it's another vision with really very, very open and very wide to our own interpretation. But yes, all of these things connect to a very much bigger level than just a country or just a political statement. It's much more wider than that.
There's another point I wanted to mention. The director, Panah Panahi, he himself has said that the two boys in the film kind of represent himself. The kid when he was much younger, energetic, and the older boy who left, basically him as an adult when he felt more introverted, disappointed in conditions in Iran. And you probably, if you were here for last screenings, we did talk about how Jafar Panahi was interrogated, arrested a couple of times. And during the interrogations, there were threats actually against Panah Panahi and his sister, the daughter and son of Jafar Panahi, which is why the sister actually leaves Iran. So he says, I have all these memories of cousins, my own sister leaving. I don't necessarily remember the day they left, when we went to the airport, for those who could leave illegally, or the other ones who could leave illegally. He said that I don't necessarily remember that, but I do remember the pain after. So for him, it was very important to focus on people who are left behind. Because once you leave, at least in the media, you become faceless, you become a number, you become just someone who dies, for example. But for those who are left behind, they are, daughters, sisters, brothers, family members. So for him, it was very important to focus on that.
Remember, we talk about 2000 Kubrick Space Odyssey, it's like very connected, all this, and he talks about Batman, who is like maybe a figure of graphic, but it's still the same thing, this idea of like imagination, strength of vision can be higher, can be stronger, and very well made too, it's very kind of, and he goes and bang, he stops and we go to the mountain. And I think it's beautiful too.
I think a lot of these also are there to give the characters space to cry. Because, if you remember, Farid basically tells his mom that his favorite film is 2001 Space Odyssey, right? And that scene is a reference to that film because he tells his mom there is this scene towards the end, the guy kind of disappears into this black hole, and he's kind of flying away. He says it's Zen. It gives you that feeling of calmness. You can, stare at it for hours. I think towards the end, what we see is with the father in that scene, which kind of represents 2001 Space Odyssey's last scene, it gives him the space to cry because I don't know if you notice, as he's telling his son a story, he actually is crying. He's kind of choking in a way as he was laughing. Sorry, and so was his wife. Exactly. Both of them. That's the opportunity they find to cry. The whole film is about protecting the kid, right?
Yeah, protecting the kid is the key of everything. This is a message, the clear message. We have to stop here, So thank you very much for coming. Remember, everything that I'm doing.
Thank you so much.
Put your name on the newsletter because the newsletter will tell you everything because I'm doing things everywhere. I'm from West Essex to Livingston. I'll be back next time in February with a Japanese film series, but stay in touch. Montclair Film does not know everything what I'm doing. All right, thank you very much. Thank you for coming, it's important.